So welcome to a subscriber request video about the life and times of Woollys Wolstenhume, that enigmatic keyboard player from Barclay James Harvest. Let's take a look at what went on. So this is his story of brilliance and fragility, of triumph and heartbreak, the life of the romantic soul of Barclay James Harvest. Now, I must start and say that he was affectionately called Woolley, but his real name was in fact Stuart John Wolstenholme. He was a man who dreamed in symphonies, the poet behind the Mellotron, who gave the band its grandeur, its melancholy, and also its drama. Now, whilst others saw rock and roll, Woolley saw cathedrals of sound. His music shimmered with some longing, beauty, and really quite a touch of sadness. Now, before I forget, if you end up enjoying this video from the album review channel, could you do all of that ticking and selection stuff that all of us YouTubers keep asking for? Sadly, it really does make a difference to the channel. But let's get back to the story. He was born in Chadderton, which is in Lancashire in the northern part of England, in 1947, to a world of really mills and moors where one's imagination offered the best route of escape. He showed an early gift for art and music. He's training as a fine artist before turning to sound as his canvas. He was touched by classical music, and it was really something deep within him. Rachmaninoff, Vaughan Williams, the sweeping emotion of English romanticism. Now, these influences really would never leave him. Even in those loudest moments of rock, Woolley's soul was really that of a painter, using a keyboard to paint landscapes in sound. And so it was in 1967 that Woolley joined forces with John Lees, Les Holroyd and Mel Pritchard. Together, they formed Barclay James Harvest, four dreamers really determined to mix the emotional power of orchestral music with the spirit of rock. At the centre of it all was Wolstenholme, his Mellotron, that temperamental tape-driven keyboard we proggers love so much, became the band's orchestra. When money was tight, the Mellotron really filled the space of violins and choirs, conjuring up grandeur from electricity and willpower. Now, from their farmhouse base near Oldham, Barclay James Harvest began building really a sound that was really lush, emotional, and unmistakably their own. Now, throughout the 1970s, Barclay James Harvest refined their sound. Wolstenhume's musical fingerprints were just everywhere. The soaring lines of Mockingbird, the tension of She Said, and the theatrical sweep of Dark Now My Sky were just a few examples of his influences. His stage presence was pure drama, his head bowed in concentration, his eyes firmly closed as he wrestled with emotion and electricity. Fans really saw him as the band's heart, the man who gave the music its soul. But behind the harmony, tensions were brewing, just like so many bands at the time. As Barclay James Harvest found wider success, the others perhaps leaning towards a more commercial, radio-friendly direction, where the money and action was supposedly taking place. But Woolley wanted to reach higher, to make the music that was timeless, not just tuneful. His romantic ideals really began to clash with reality, so by the end of the 70s, he really felt increasingly out of step with the band that really he had helped to build. The drama of Woolley's music mirrored the drama within. So in 1979, with the release of 12, Woolley made the difficult decision to leave Barclay James Harvest. He described feeling alienated, both musically and personally. His orchestral vision no longer shared by his bandmates. His departure marked the end of an era. For many fans, the symphonic magic of Barclay James Harvest dimmed with his absence. But Woolley still had something to say. That same year, he began a solo project, the aptly named Maestoso, meaning majestic. It was his chance to write without compromise, to give voice to the grandeur that really had lived inside of him. But with Maestoso, he revealed his full emotional range. It was lush, it was tragic, it was romantic, and most of all, it was deeply human. Songs like A Prospect of Whitby and Deceive Us All carried echoes of the old Barclay James Harvey spirit, but with a much rawer honesty to them. His lyrics spoke of loneliness, of ideals betrayed, of the quiet beauty of everyday life. And some of his later works, like Songs from the Black Box, One Drop in a Dry World, all continued that journey. Though his audience was perhaps smaller, and it was smaller, those who listened found something really profound. His music was a refuge for him, and for the people who understood what he was saying. Now, he once described his music as a fight between dreamer and the realist. And in that struggle, he gave us some of the most heartfelt music of his time. In the 1990s, A Quirk of Fate brought Wolstenhume back to John Lees, and really back to the band. Well, kind of. Let me explain. Together they formed John Lees's Barclay James Harvest, which saw a return to the spirit of those early years. For a time, it was a rebirth. The Mellotron roared again, and audiences cheered the reunion of old friends. But behind that applause, Woolley continued to battle depression, a deep darkness that really never truly lifted. So it was that on December the 13th, 2010, he took his own life, aged 63. That news shook the music world and left fans heartbroken. He had always written of loss and beauty intertwined, and in the end, his story became really one of both. The music will always play. Stuart Wolstenholme was more than just a musician. He was a painter of emotion and a dreamer of sounds. His Mellotron wasn't just an instrument, it was his voice for everything that words really couldn't say. His music captured the English soul, its rain-soaked melancholy, its quiet hope, its sense of beauty found in sadness. Decades later, his songs still speak to those who listen with open hearts. In Mockingbird, in The Poet, and Maestoso, we still hear the man who dreamed of forever. Perhaps that's how we'd want to be remembered, not as a rock star, but as a poet of sound. Now his body may be gone, his melodies remain, soft echoes under an endless sky.